Oh, come on, DC, come on. Please be good, please be good, please be good. Hello ladies and gentlemen and movie lovers of all kind, and welcome back to another Super Series Tuesday. And for today, we will be covering the fourth film in the DC Extended Universe, Wonder Woman. Now, Wonder Woman was released in 2017. It was directed by Patty Jenkins and stars Gal Gadot, Chris Pine, and Danny Huston. And the story follows Princess Diana of Themyscira, a mysterious land hidden from the rest of the world, as she ventures with Steve Trevor to Europe in order to stop World War I. So without further ado, let's hop right into the positives. Firstly, for the positives is a two-parter, and that's the two leads of the movie. Gal Gadot as Diana, or Wonder Woman, and Chris Pine as Steve Trevor. Now, Gal Gadot, I just love her performance in this movie. I really do. I love her as Wonder Woman. Even the little bit that she had in Batman v Superman, although I think her role was unnecessary, she really did give it her all, and I love her as this character. Her abilities, the way she carries herself, what she believes in, I love all that, but then I also adore Gal Gadot's performance. You can tell she's really giving it her all. She used to always just kind of be a side character, like in Fast and Furious and stuff, and now she has a leading role, and she proves that she can stand on her own 2 feet and carry this franchise. And Steve Trevor, I just love him. His beliefs, what he stands for, how he wants to stop the war, even though they're signing the peace treaty and all those things. He's like, no, these guys have to be stopped. They're up to something sinister. We have to do something. And I really, really love what he stands for. I adore the performance that he gives. I think he's absolutely hilarious. He's super charming. And again, I just love the dynamic that they have, how they both don't really understand each other's worlds, but they have just this beautiful, wonderful chemistry to them. And next is the supporting cast. I really do enjoy the supporting cast for all different reasons. I love Samir. I love Charlie. I love Antio Pipolta. I like Samir because he's the comedy relief. He's hilarious. Charlie, again, he's pretty funny too, but I love how they put this kind of PTSD twist on him where he has nightmares, he can't sleep, he can't pull the trigger anymore. I really enjoy that aspect. And then I love all the Amazonians, and I love what they do. Hippolyta, Antiope, they're great for different reasons. Again, they're like the yin and the yang. They balance each other out. They have the same beliefs, but they have different ways of tackling these beliefs. And next is the action in this movie because it looks so damn good. Even though a lot of it is CGI, I mean, what do you expect? It's Wonder Woman. But it is shot very well, and it is done with a lot of taste. You know, it's not too over the top, but it's not too like, okay, you know, we're missing something here. This is basically a god, and she should be doing a lot more than she is. No, it really does find that fine line. There's no just huge over the top kind of Man of Steel stuff, but it also doesn't feel like she's underpowered or anything. The choreography is great, and in particular, of course, the No Man's Land scene. I think it's phenomenal, and not just when she's charging across No Man's Land, but everything that happens in the little town afterwards. I think all of that is great. It's well shot, it feels believable, it feels very impactful, and it's super fun to watch. And next is just the wonderful tone and tonal shifts in this movie because it knows what it needs to be. When it's happy, you feel that happiness. The colors, the music, everything changes with the tone of the movie. The more darker scenes, the score becomes darker. The coloring becomes darker. Everyone embodies that darkness. So as the movie shifts in tone, it really does show. And next is just Themyscira in general. I love it. Honestly, the look of it is fantastic, especially when you get that baby bump in 4K. Themyscira looks incredible, and I love just the Amazonians in general, just from their design, the way they look, the way they act, the way their culture runs, their history, their lore. I love everything about it. I think it's great, which kind of just brings me to my next point, which is the costume design in this movie is another thing that I think that they absolutely nailed. They knocked it out of the park. The costume design, honestly, I would have chosen this one to get an Oscar over Suicide Squad. And lastly is the setting for this movie, or the multiple settings. Like I already said, Themyscira is great. I think the time period is great. This is really where this movie should have been. World War I, it works well for the story. So although I am super excited for Wonder Woman 1984, I am a bit skeptical as to what's going to be going on there, but this one set in World War I and at the end of World War I, I think was perfectly chosen. Now the middle ground is just something that I've always kind of been like, it doesn't really bother me, but in the same sense, it kind of does, because I grew up loving the Justice League TV series, and as far as I can remember, in any iteration of Wonder Woman that I've seen, she's never had an accent. If anything, she speaks with a very commanding voice, and speaks with very proper English. She has a very, very strong voice. So I think because they chose Gal Gadot, they just told everyone else who was an Amazonian from Themyscira, saying, hey, you have to speak like Gal Gadot. Some of them don't really do the accents that well, especially I found the little girl who played Diana, you know, when she was like 8 years old, I believe it was. She doesn't do it all that well, but I mean, you can't really knock her. She's only an 8-year-old kid, so I mean, she did what she could with the accent that she was told to do. And the negatives, and there are two big negatives negatives for me. And the first and the biggest one is the villains in this movie. I think they're absolute garbage. Villains that are just super corny and cartoonish. Like, you have that moment, you have Danny Houston, who's typically a phenomenal villain as Ludendorff, and then you have Dr. Poison, and they could be really strong, menacing villains. They have moments where they're strong and menacing, and they actually seem like good, scary villains. And then you have that one scene, which I always refer to as to why I hate the villains in this movie, when they throw, like, the gas canister in the room with all the other German generals, they toss in the gas mask, and then she's like, oh, but the gas mask won't work, and then they're both like, oh yes, but they don't know that, and they start, like, laughing and chuckling, like, no, that moment didn't need to be in the movie at all. If you want to just toss the canister in and poison everybody and kill them, sure, that's dark, that's cool, whatever, like, that's great, it's a good villainy thing to do, but when you have them chuckling about it afterwards, I'm just like, okay, stupid. And then, you know, there's obviously the other villain that Wonder Woman is looking for in Hades, and, yeah, anyway, I'm not gonna get into it too much, but, yeah, all of the villains in this movie is what I'll say. The two that you get, and then any others that might come into the movie are all just garbage, and they're terrible, and I don't like them. The last negative is just the ending and the end battle. I think they're both pretty horrible, honestly. I don't like the kind of happy-go-lucky ending that we get. I think it's stupid, I don't like it, and the end fight, I think, was an even bigger CGI mess that was even worse than Batman v Superman or Man of Steel. I don't like the villain that she faces off against. I don't like everything that goes on. I find you can't see it. I find it's pretty well just downright horrible. So guys, those are my thoughts on Wonder Woman. I'm going to be giving Wonder Woman an 8 out of 10. I think it is a great superhero movie. So if you like this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. Let me know, what are your thoughts on Wonder Woman? And be sure to check me out on social media. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Links will be in the description and at the end of the video. And be sure to check out my Instagram page every Friday for the Fan Vote Friday for week 2 of the Christmas challenge. So make sure you get in there, you get your votes, and you see your favorite movie until the very end, until it is crowned the Christmas challenge champion. And as always, thank you so much for watching, and that's a wrap. Batman v Superman, Dawn of